Hey,
give it
Adam.
a whole lot.
Adam,
Yes. It's my birthday?
are we going to start the show or
We're gonna get him alone? You want to start this shit?
unthink?
We're people who start shows.
I'll do nothing but start the show for an hour.
I like ending things for a long time. I like that. Like ending a song is so fun if you do it for a super long time. Bram, bram, and there ain't no more. Just kidding. And that's the end of the song. Second verse, same as the first. Yeah, we're gonna try and smash some comments because you know what, we're almost caught up, and I'll
Let's
tell you why
smash.
why it's taken me so damn long. It's because I'm producing lots and lots of content, and I
Oh
got
boy.
lost.
Here we
I had
go.
this idea of the yoga grab bag, where
Uh-huh.
it's like a variety show. We have the podcast, we have the yoga and meditation, we have the all the whole things, and we just smash it into one thing. That's kind of what I've been trying
Are
to
we bringing
engineer.
back Johnny Blue Jeans?
We're trying to, and we're not having great success. So I'm probably just going to release about 6 videos that look like they were trying to smash into one video and then
Okay.
failed at that and then ended up being 6 different videos.
Do you call that a bottle video? Bottle six videos?
Thank
Well,
you. Thank you.
six videos. I'd call it a jug.
Open question before we get started for the audience. I think, have I said this before? Let me know. But don't let me know that. Let me know this. Wish technology. I'm asking
Oh.
over and over again. Tarot? First
Uh-huh.
question about tarot, about any
Sure.
sort of divination. Wishing upon a star,
Mm-hmm.
wishing upon a wishbone,
Mm-hmm.
wishing upon a birthday cake.
Throwing a
James and I
coins
are
in a
utterly
fountain.
unconvinced that wishing results in changing anything in material reality. That's not our angle here.
Well,
We're just not, yeah, we're
I
just
did
saying
have
we don't,
a bit of an
yeah,
argument for that. I don't believe in the magic of a wish, wishing in private,
yeah.
right? You broke the wishbone. What'd you wish for? Oh, I can't say, or it won't come true. But you throw the coin into the fountain, can't say. You ask Santa Claus for something, can't say.
Can't say, Santa, there's another one, yeah. And
I am a proponent of speaking things into reality. And if you wish for something, if Adam wishes for something and old James hears it and it's within my power to at least get it started in that direction,
hmm,
I'm going to do it. That wish is more likely to come true if you tell somebody.
there's some psychology here and some, yeah, some manifestation. However,
Mhm.
I just want to know where exactly those parameters are in the magical belief. I
Keeping it so secret, you mean?
wished
Or
upon
just
a
at all?
star, and I'm curious, if I share that with anyone or particular people or everyone, does that weaken or dilute my wish power, or does it
Mm.
strengthen it?
Oh, I see.
In terms of wish tech, now, that's my question for y'all.
Okay.
Because I asked James, I asked everyone, I asked myself, and curious about your opinion. We're definitely in agreement. Like, my value is like consciousness, right? Like just be more conscious, more aware. That's a good value in my opinion, for my perspective. I have an opinion. Consciousness, more consciousness, right? So, to wit, admitting to yourself what you wish and
Hmm.
communicating to others what you wish would
Hmm.
definitely be a psychologically healthy behavior,
Hmm.
assuming that it's safe to do.
And
And
realistic.
as you say things out loud, they become more real to you. You believe in them more, and as you share them, now your community believes in them more. So, like, of course, if I wish for something realistic and I express it and I feel it all the time and I think about it, it seems to me like I'm gonna head in that direction more. I mean, as far as
I was,
wishing goes, like, if
I just said if it's realistic, and then I was trying to think
yeah.
of like this is unrealistic. I want to breathe underwater. Okay, so you want to buy some scuba equipment. I want to
Yeah.
fly without an airplane. Okay, so you want to buy a jetpack, or these days there's not a lot that's unrealistic. I want to be taller. Well, okay,
Yeah,
there's
well,
surgeries for that.
yeah.
It's
I want
horribly
AI
painful,
to
and
take over the world. I
yeah,
want
I mean it's
to
possible.
live forever. Yeah, it's all pretty realistic. Um, yeah, so and I'm thinking even just like, the things that everybody wants. I want a pay raise. I want to patch things up with my uh younger person than me in my family. I want to,
Sure.
yeah, all that. They're just ordinary things like, I think like wishing is a way of kind of like moving the goalpost down the field, to say
Hmm.
like, well, I wish. Well, don't wish, you damn dreamer. Go get them.
Yeah.
That's the counter
What's
argument to
what's
wishing.
step one?
Yeah.
Who cares? I mean, everyone cares. We know where the finish line is. That was your wish. What is the first stop when that race gun goes off? What's your first step?
And maybe it's admitting to yourself and others that you do wish this. Maybe.
Maybe. If
Maybe
if
it's,
I
yeah.
don't know what that first step is, speaking your wish out loud, somebody might. Some
Yeah.
somebody might.
There you go. Yeah, tell that, and tell everybody your wishes. You never know. Like you might be on a date, like I want a date with you, but then you mention something and it turns out like, oh, my friend's opening up a hot dog stand. You like hot dogs? Like, oh, it's a whole different thing. I wished for a hot dog
Oh.
less than I wished to make out with this person. Uh,
Hmm.
but I get the hot dog. That's pretty good.
I mean, there's
Always
still a
share your
win-win.
wants. Yeah. Share what you want. Don't be afraid. It's okay. You can want things. That's all
So was
right.
your I think we
I'm not
kind of
mad.
we jumped on this really quickly, having already spoken about it. But your question to the audience that you wish
Yes.
to see in the comments,
That I
a
wish
wish,
for. Whee!
is whether where the folklority of it came in as to keeping quiet about it.
I form a virtual container in my brain that believes in wishing
Okay.
so that I can reap the benefits of believing in wishing. I just am unclear
Uh-huh.
on whether I can share the wish that I made, whether that helps or hinders. I believe it probably hinders, so I probably don't want to share any wishes that I
That's
make.
that's the superstition part of it. If you
I,
wish on a star and tell anyone, it's definitely not coming true, right?
Now, as scientists, I can tell you my clinical history with wishing is that I wish for things
Hmm.
and I get them, and it's Faustian. I get what I
Uh-huh.
literally asked for, but it like cuts my arm off. And
Right.
it like I want to get enough sleep. Oh, you'll get plenty of sleep.
Right. When you're
I hope
dead.
you're thirsty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's like, all right, so I have a boyfriend and
Hmm.
he is Adolf Hitler. I got
Oh
a
boy.
boyfriend. I got a boyfriend.
Ava Braun.
Yeah. It's stupid. So it's almost like to a point where I'm like, well, maybe I just won't wish anymore. How do you like that, stars?
All
You
right,
kind
Mikey. Was it Mikey? No, it was Mouth.
of, yeah, I'm
Pulling the
taking
coins
back,
out. This is
grabbing the
my
stars out of the
wish.
sky,
It didn't come true. Taking it back.
taking them all back. Go up there on Troy's bucket if you want. I'm down here stealing everybody's
You
corners.
can go back up there. Troy's bucket. Goonies reference. Sorry,
We
everybody.
should open up a little Troy's bucket ride over there. I'm sorry, I'm wasting all of our time, and we can actually get through all of our comments today. Namal 007, our best friend, always talks to us. Love it. Let's include and transcend this intro. That's our channel intro. Did we do a good job on that? We did at the time. We were really pleased with it at the time.
You mean the bumper?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's good.
yeah, I
Let's
do
smash it
think it's
up.
good. I think we could do it again because I didn't know that this at the time. Let me give a little backstory. At the time, I
Yeah.
didn't know how serious we were going to take this channel. I knew it was going to be
And it didn't
serious
seem like
enough.
very serious. Yeah.
So like I'm in my pajamas, I'm unshaved, the
I'm sitting
lighting
there
is
toking bowls.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using like earbuds as my mic and audio and everything. Like, but it's become more of a thing. I've invested in things. I
I
actually
bet.
changed the turbine fan for my smoke eater, so it was quieter. We're taking it a lot more seriously. A relook, we could do the exact same bumper again, but a relook might be worth it. Only
Yeah.
everything has improved since then, except the content.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I
yeah.
mean, I mean,
Approaching 3,000 subs, which is nothing to some people and a lot to others. To me, it's a lot. I've had a
I
lot
don't
of
know
YouTube
what does
channels.
that mean.
3,000 subs. Yeah, not bad, huh?
Thanks.
Yeah, by the way, yeah, go ahead if you're not in the club being here right now.
Costs
So
you nothing and takes a very minimal effort.
if you guys, the more you do that, the more this becomes a thing that can keep happening and everything. We're working on our platform, but right now what you can do is like, subscribe, join the Discord, comment. We love all that. We get the greatest comments. We're so happy with that.
So, speaking of comments,
Will Christie on the Ken Wilber iceberg. There's always good
mm,
comments. I love how these self-identified spiritual teachers cannot keep it zipped. And then there's more. All right, cool. Is that me or Ken Wilber? Like what did I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know.
this is a big one. So the same person. A brilliant explanation and apologetic. I have studied integral theory periodically for perhaps 25 years. Same deal.
Nice.
But I've become disillusioned, although I treasure the books, because it seems, after all is said and done, to be navel gazing. Ooh, I have to make a note right now because it's real. This is good. Uh,
Can I
Navel
get some
gazing is
clarity
kind
from
of
yeah.
wasting, is an idea of meditation where you're just wasting your time, spending time. Stare at your navel. Duh. It's like to suggest, that this like contemplation thing is like pointless or pretentious.
Visually
It's a
something's
sort of
happening,
Freudian
but
perspective.
on the inside nothing. I actually thought it was like some sort of nautical term for looking through a periscope.
Ah, and
Go on.
I'm not a propagandist. I don't disagree with that. I'm curious about that. I'm like, is this all just a big waste of time? This is a question that we're always asking ourselves. Like, navel gazing is an interesting, is there any point to bringing consciousness to like patterns in our thoughts, feelings, and actions
So it would
fit to
depend
just
on
paying attention?
what your desired outcome is.
Yes.
Are you
And
reading these books to attain enlightenment? Because that's not how that's going to happen. Are you reading these
no,
books to
it might
understand
help.
a little bit more about the world around you?
That's a
That's
lot.
realistic.
That's more likely to work. We're really focused on second tier, teal and turquoise. I'm not trying to teach spirituality, third tier, anything like that. I am trying to teach second tier, and we're trying to teach just what this model is and how it all works. That's kind of what we're
As far
actually
as
doing.
we know it, and I think we try to say at least once an episode. We never said we
We
were
don't know
right.
anything.
Like I don't hold myself as an authority to anything.
But the unique thing about that second tier thinking is you do include levels that you're not aware of, like levels that
Hmm.
you can kind of see out there, but you don't have access to yourself. This is a novel, emergent thing. Very interesting.
Did you finish?
Oh,
I think I cut you off.
no,
Okay.
nothing. I would keep going on that. Nothing
Hmm.
practical seems to come of it. Yeah, it's very interesting and good question, good concern. While I like the hierarchy of consciousness and spiral dynamics, which has explained my interactions with others,
Hmm.
and given me some way of even trying to understand MAGA Trumpers at the tribal
Oh yeah,
level.
make America great again.
Oh, there
Mega,
it is.
mega. Yeah. Okay.
There was so much hype about its practical applications in the past, and it has all come to nothing, almost like a self-satisfied cult of people who feel superior to others, but do not create anything to actually help humanity. Yes, yeah, yeah, this is awesome. He will be
That's
a
pretty much
foot.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah, this is no, this is really good, and this is getting right to the heart of the issue. Yeah, absolutely. He will be a footnote in history, not because he deserves only this, but because the integral movement really came to naught outside of its own cultish boundaries. As an elderly man who studies Western philosophers in depth, I have yet to find any list of innovative 20th or 21st century philosophers that includes Ken Wilber. And his books at Barnes and Noble continue to be filed under New Age, which
Hmm.
relegates them to the category that includes books on casting magical love spells, astrology, and crystal healing.
Yeah.
Uh, Great comment and totally interesting question. It's just ideas, and ideas don't often, you have to translate them to action yourself. I can't really blame Wilbur for people not latching on or embracing or adopting his ideas. That's not really his fault. The question is it good? And could it be useful? And what are you doing to implement it?
Hmm.
I think. I mean, that's kind of my take on it. That's why I'm here. But what Will is saying here is it's of course anybody who's been into this as long as we have has had this come up. It's just like, okay, I know integral theory really well. I have for 10 years. What is it doing for me? What value is it? It seems like the more I bring it up, the more punished I am. But it also seems like this is a really true and deep and beautiful thing that I wish I could share with others. I think this is a thing that integral people struggle with.
Hmm.
Integral
Oh yeah.
thinkers struggle with. Great, great. And I feel like we'll probably get some action on that. I hope we do. I think that's a really thoughtful and on point comment.
Bringing it back to that bumper we made in 15 seconds or 20 seconds, we talked about why we wanted to make the channel. And mine was just to kind of understand people's motivations without asking them. The best way to know someone's motivation is to ask what their motivation is. But I can't get out of my car at 75 miles an hour and ask why this person thought cutting me off was a good idea. And using integral theory, spiral dynamics, and altitudes, I can feel more at ease knowing that this person thinks that whatever they did intentionally was not a personal attack towards me, but they thought it was right in some way. In that, I find more inner peace knowing at least a little bit the motivation of others. That's it.
Absolutely.
I'm not looking to be an authority or a teacher on the subject. I'm just interested about it and knowing more about it. It's like learning how to read. Kids that can't read don't have a terrible life. They just
Mm.
don't know certain things.
They're limited from some things.
Unintentionally in the background, things are operating, putting everyone in boxes and silos and whatever. This just kind of takes away those boxes and silos and makes it more of a gradient. It's a sliding scale, but no one's stuck in one place.
And this is an all-encompassing theory. It's like the books, the Ken Wilber books that he, Will treasures and I treasure, and they're great books. They really focus a lot on that upper left quadrant, on improving yourself and improving your own psychology. That's a large part of the focus, but it does focus on all the quadrants. Just that's a big part of what people get out of it. And now you're talking about applying integral to sort of like communication, compassion, understanding others more in the bottom left. Again, like you can get all kinds of things out of this. Maybe as I was kind of thinking about that, I thought about to what extent has this been implemented in real life? There are organizations that run companies that run on integral
Mm-hmm.
informed values. This is a real thing that exists. Zappos,
Patagonia.
Patagonia. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few of them. Now, does that do anything? Okay, now we're asking questions. Yeah, but it is in the bottom right. It does exist. And Unthink Me is a channel on YouTube. It's not doing nothing. It's doing very little. And you see what we're up against. It's not, yeah. But what I wanted to say, I've wanted to say it for a long time. Maybe this is a whole episode, but I'm just going to drop this right now. I
Mm.
was cruising on Reddit. I research, what do people think about Wilbur? So I go on Reddit,
Okay.
like I'm looking for opinions and of course, there's this like avalanche of like, I think this, thus I don't like Wilbur. Oh,
Okay.
you're biased, of course. That's what it's stating explicitly.
Everyone
But
is,
one that just blew my
including
mind,
me.
it was kind of just like a little mind sitting there, is it's like integral theory is a thing that appeals to codependent types who want to like, but who want to like see themselves as special and like consider themselves similar to Wilbur, who is special. And that hook of codependency is so interesting because I've struggled a lot with codependency. I deal a lot with the integral community. They seem to struggle a lot with codependency. If you watch the movie or read the book Grace and Grit, there's kind of codependent elements to the relationship between Ken Wilber and Treya. It's like in Loveline, Adam Carolla calls it being a man of great passion.
Mm.
That's what codependency, like when you take relationships really seriously, there's something to the psychology of a codependent that is appealing about integral, and that's very concerning to me. That's very like worrisome. That's probably the biggest
Something
criticism that I can possibly have of Ken Wilber.
something that came out in Will's comment, and I didn't mention it because it's not that important, but now that we're talking about this, he said the hierarchy of levels. I don't look at it as any level being better or worse than another level. It's just a thing. We say levels, we say stages, and those are usually ascending or descending order. And I don't look at it that way. Every level has its drawbacks. As a person in a level, I have my own challenges and my own benefit for each level.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go into war surrounded by a bunch of people whose majority of their time is spent in second tier because we're all going to
yeah.
die. Tying into what you just said, the sort of piousness that can come
Hmm.
from when people are talking about this topic and they say, "Well, I am actually," wait, you're you're a vegan and you live in LA? How's this the first time I'm ever hearing about this? Yeah, it's when that happens, I don't think higher or lower of somebody. It's just one of those things that comes out as a little bit of sandpaper among the silk. As someone who's been orange since I've been three, like, well,
Hmm.
okay, whatever. It doesn't affect me at all. That's the thing.
Yeah, we keep doing. This is another whole episode. Hierarchy is addressed extremely heavily in integral and outside of integral, and it comes down to what let's see, Jordan Peterson calls it hierarchies of competence. And
Hmm.
Wilber calls them like growth hierarchies or hierarchies of inclusions. It is possible to be more inclusive.
Hmm.
So if you look at it in an organization, right, you have like the corporate leadership, and then you have like the
Okay.
management, and then you have like the middle management and the employees. It's
Now
not
you're
to
talking
say
my
that any one of
terms.
these people is better than another person. It's just to
Right.
say that in these roles, this person performs in this role.
More
They've been assigned
efficiently.
to this role. Maybe they
Yeah.
suck worse
Maybe
than
they're
the person
not.
who's scissoring packages open, and they're
Right.
they're a total fool, but that's their role, and it that hierarchy is desirable. We wouldn't want to have this like equal, like, oh, we just hired you on, but you get to make the major decisions that affect shareholders.
Yeah.
you
Everybody
know
just kind of does whatever they want. You'll never get anywhere.
it's a when we even suggest hierarchy, especially to or from green meme, it is a big no. It's bad. It's we're saying people are better or worse than others.
Hmm.
It's just what it we're saying it is. It's like, are you aware of this? Are you aware of this? Do you see this? Do you do this in general? Do you think and feel this in general? If you lay it out kind of like historically and developmentally and in a progression, you do find that it goes in a certain direction. So that creates like a hierarchy, in the same sense that like the food web is a hierarchy, or the job market is a hierarchy. It is certainly an amber meme. The piousness you talk about is
Hmm.
amber meme. The I'm better, everyone who's not me is worse is amber meme. It's just the integral thinker sees the value in all the stages, and they don't tend to care as much about these superlatives, these legends. These are like amber red territory, to be really fixated on I'm the best. I'm going to make that true in whatever like way of talking and thinking possible. It makes me the hero, the good guy, the
Hmm.
perfect. Integral is so self-deprecating. The second tier is so self-aware that you can't help but be extremely critical of self, culture, and nature for its flaws, and to see that there's like things that seem to work a little better and things that seem to work a little worse. And if we want to call that a hierarchy, then we get into problematic terrain.
Hmm. Then you're
And
ranking.
it's
It's not
rocky, and
ranked.
we this will be continue to be discussed and mulled over forever and ever and ever. But those are the kind of basic points about it.
We will never
Uh,
get through these comments.
GMD 3232 on all 12 stages. Oh, it's really just the solipsism. Solipsism. I think, did I say that in the video? Just kind of the belief that your perspective's the only one.
Hmm.
Integral level. It's just a solipsism. A bit. Yeah, I mean, because like the only thing I know is what I'm conscious of. So in a way, it's like solipsism. The problem with solipsism is that in the abstract, we do accept that other people exist as
Hmm.
like an idea, and it's like it's kind of hard. I don't know what kind of reality you can construct where other people aren't doing the same experience you are. I'm sure it's possible. Bingus is watching. Says been in turquoise for probably a year now and recently started meditating and pushing turquoise type thought to its logical conclusion, which indeed seems to be pushing me up in the indigo level. Cool chart. Great, cool to hear the progress. And this is that area we want to be hitting people right there if they're like kind of hanging out in turquoise sort of thoughts, feelings, and actions, moving more into less dense and more subtle places, kind of escaping the personal identity. Yeshua ben Yaho on dealing with meditation-induced psychosis. Meditation induces schizophrenia because self-observation is destructive. Self-observation is this, they say this. If you observe yourself from an outside perspective, which is still inside, you create a dissociation between a you outside and a true you, observing which you take to be the true you. So there is two you, a you and a not you. You will feel that your body is perceived, so it is maybe not important. You will start to feel that you are God, that you have no beginning and no end, which is just a self-deception. Try not to meditate and observe your thoughts as exterior from you, because this is the root of dissociative disorder. I would say the total opposite. I would say that self-observation is constructive in basically every situation and case. Like if you're being rude to someone, why are you being rude to someone? Because you're not paying attention to yourself. If you were paying attention to yourself, you'd see what you're doing and you'd say, oh, I'm being a rude person. And you stop doing that. I mean, right?
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Maybe,
that's kind
maybe,
of the
maybe
thesis
that's
I'm
coming
going on.
off strange.
Yeah, it's good and thoughtful. I think self-observation is a it's good. Let's do that. Self-observe, please. Because I deal with a lot of people who say things, like, oh, I just don't want to go in there. That'll drive me crazy or something. And I just couldn't disagree more. That's what you do in psychology. And psychologists, the point of like therapy is to make you less crazy, if I understand clinical psychology well. And what you do in there is you gain objectivity. You look at yourself. You look at what you do. You say it out loud. You say
You
it
look at
kind of
only
neutral.
yourself and not
Yeah.
compare to others.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
I
Different
don't know.
opinions on insight, or maybe I'm misunderstanding. It's quite
I
possible.
think maybe we're just misunderstanding. That's
Quite possible.
strange.
Mr. Smallpox on starting a transcendental spiritual practice says amazing content. I've just found out about integral theories. I feel that all these concepts validate some of my intuitions about reality. Thanks to your
Nice.
videos, I can now explore them with more depth. That's what we're trying to do. Thank you so much. And we're glad to be here. We're glad you found us. And please go ahead and hit that subscribe. We're right up your alley. You're right up our alley. Come on down. At AD4K8 says, I can identify with my journey here and frighteningly feel quite accomplished. Heart, I think I'm indigo in level. Beautiful. Love to have you. Thank you. Ray Sting says, this is big brain activity. I like it. I like you. John
Hey, I
Williams,
like you, buddy.
famous composer of Indiana Jones and Star Wars and everything, says, you don't have to do anything to be there. You are always there. You are there.
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's the
That's one
thing.
it took me a long time to figure out.
Yeah.
It was rooted in running away from my own problems. Problem is, I came with me.
Sometimes I find keywords that help to deepen my practice and effortless. It's effortless. It's stop the effort. It's not an effort to go there. It's just
Absence of effort.
stop. Yeah, it's like cut out all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Do Glorious Forever says, I remember a video on marketing. IR such explained how brands appealed to our most basic unconscious thinking. Seems
Mhm.
to fit in here. Caveman thing. Oh yeah, marketing gets second tier marketing's kind of scary, right? Because you can appeal to
What a
our
beautiful science.
secret low level urges and impulses. I mean, everything's got to have a sexual component. Come on.
Mm.
A Freudian world, everything's got a little bit of that going on. Everything's got a little bit of fear of death and a little bit of desire for sexuality because that's what our DNA makes us. Oh, golly, yeah, we could get into marketing. Julian says, could you put a blurb or a link to the full video where you got these clips? They're very interesting. And geez, I think I'm doing something wrong here when I do these shorts because I'm just straight up remixing them, clipping them from the videos. And I believe I'm clicking a thing that says related video. So when you're viewing those, you should be able to just go to the original video that I pulled them from. I might be wrong, but I'm getting this comment a lot, so I'm assuming I'm wrong. These are just little segments. I just took out sound bites that I thought were compelling or they encapsulate, they're kind of defining terms and stuff. And those
Mm.
seem to be doing pretty well. So I'll take a look at that. Sorry about that, Julian. Julian, you are my brother. What are you saying? I'm genetic garbage? No, you're my brother. And
What I learned
smallpox.
from that movie
Hmm.
is that car alarms have a mercury switch, and if you lift the car above a 30-degree angle, it turns the alarm off.
Is this true?
Yeah.
Did you check
Well, it
this?
was. It was
It
true.
was, yeah.
I don't
Do
know if
women
it's
actually wear these things? Oh, I feel lucky they do. Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito for all you youngins out there. Terrible movie, don't watch it. Julian again says, what's the full vid of this clip? Yeah, see, I'm screwing something up.
yeah,
Brandon
we'll have to
says,
do some testing.
I'd like to see a humor through the stages video. Absolutely, us two. We're talking about that humor,
We're
stages of
right
humor,
there with you
altitudes of
and
humor.
waiting for it to happen.
All right, we got a lot of videos to make, but that's certainly one of them.
Hmm.
Brendan again. I don't haven't seen Brendan before. Good to see you on the how do levels of consciousness actually work. I really want some deep dive into the higher stages of 8 plus. It wasn't super clear because obviously you only know them when you get there. I'd like to see
God.
where spiritual awakening falls on this map. Maybe I'll come up with some ideas and send them your way to sort through. Great video and great explanation. So, yeah,
Please send them our way. What something we
yeah,
stumbled upon accidentally, really, is if you look up higher tier stages, we come up. That's
yeah,
scary in that,
that
like,
sucks.
yeah,
They're
we're
terrible.
out in the middle of the ocean. Like, hey, I want to know a little bit more than what James and Adam talked about. It's like, oh, well, just yeah, listen to James and Adam. Like, damn it, we want
I
to know
mean,
too, but we shouldn't come up
no.
as
It's
a
like if you
thing.
wanted to know about like Darwin, like what was Darwin all about? And then you look it up and it's just these two like knuckleheads, like, like this guy was like looking at animals and stuff, and like he thought that like when they have sex or something, like they come out different and it's like we're
It's
idiots.
okay, yeah. So
There should
it's
be like an official
you're
source. We have
you're
no
you're
money.
you're in high school or you're in college and you're trying to write a paper, okay? And then the paper is on XYZ. And so you're trying to do some research and you XYZ and your name comes up.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
And you think AI is going to help you? I'm using AI and it's AI's pulling our stuff. AI's
Right.
pulling old stuff. It's if you ask AI about altitudes, it doesn't know what's going on.
Mm-mm.
Unless you pay for it, then it'll know exactly what to do. Actually, a great explanation is the stages in the spiritual path. Yeah. Oh yeah, to actually kind of yeah, 9 is awakening, 10 is non-duality. I would agree. 11 is emptiness. I would agree. 12 is enlightenment. Okay, so you're calling 10 violet non-duality. That's the only one I disagree with. I think non-duality we
I'm
place at 12.
I'm lost on the numbers. What is this?
Oh, he's naming the third tier stages 9, 10, 11, 12, and he's
Oh, okay,
saying
okay.
9 is awakening, 10 is non-duality, 11 is emptiness, 12 is enlightenment. So, and oh, he defines them. Okay. So 9 awakening is realizing you aren't the thinker or the thoughts.
Okay.
Okay. Non-duality 10 is realizing you are not awareness either. You fill up the sense fields. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, if that's what we're calling non-duality, then yeah. Nothingness, stage 11, is realizing you are full and empty at the same time. I
Okay.
would put that more at 10, maybe. I don't know.
I'm not gonna rank what
Words
he
are tough.
put. His
Yeah.
rankings are perfect because I don't
Yeah.
understand where that's coming from. Getting the whole theory from one sentence is tough. So I'm gonna say perfect.
12 enlightenment, complete destruction of the ego or self. Yeah, and again, these are ineffable things that are very difficult to put into words. So if I'm like picking apart your wording and you're
Yeah, I
picking
think it's
apart my
wording.
wording, it's tough.
Right.
Yeah. But these sound great. And to address that comment before, it's like, yeah, we aren't the integral thing is to be aware that those exist and to try to conceptualize or understand them. Yeah, so there's a lot to talk. Gosh, so many of these are just cans of worms, and
They're gorgeous
yeah,
comments. That's
beautiful. Yeah. Face your death right now.
Face your death
You have no choice.
right now. You have to. There's no choice.
Nothing exists. I'm a dead body. Here I am.
Feet shoulder.
Shavasana.
My story is over.
Namaste.
there was
Whether
nothing
why?
I couldn't do
No,
when
no, no,
I
no,
was
no.
on top of you. On
Ooh.
top of you.
On top.
Bad dog. All right.
Meowing. Keeping it on Polish. Morgan says awakening happens somewhere between turquoise and indigo. That sounds good.
Is this a continuation of the comment about when awakening happens? These are all like comments to a comment.
That was good eye there. Yeah, that was what that was. Yeah, it was this
Okay.
chain there.
Okay.
Historically, a lot of these words have been used interchangeably, like enlightenment, awakening, blah, blah, blah. And part of the integral mission is to kind of actually like differentiate them to mean different,
What is
whatever they may actually mean.
what do Buddhism and Taoism call it?
A lot of things like
Is it Nirvana?
Nirvana, Samadhi
Okay.
is like kind of more the yoga thing, Kensho, Nirod. I mean, there's gnosis. There's so many of these words, and they kind of subtly mean different things in different traditions, and kind of trying to put them all side by side and say, like, are these the same thing? Is a
But
big
they're
part
all
of the
road
integral.
signs to the same city.
I like that. I see the psychic state or the stage 9 as a stage or just that entry level I like awakening as that word. So that's what they're saying. Like awakening could be the term for that turquoise to indigo movement. You're not like in those really deep Buddhist, states of no thought or anything like that. You're just expanding outward. You're seeing more. You're seeing more that's subconscious or that's kind of like blocked from you. You're calling into questions some of your most core assumptions. And that is this feeling. It kind of feels like waking up, like your whole life you've been dreaming this personal story, and now you're kind of coming out and it's like, oh my God, that story is just a little container inside of the whole thing. There's this whole
Okay.
big thing that everything I've ever like thought, felt, and done just like exists in this little category. And that could be levels of that. That could be an exaggeration. There's levels of that, but that fundamental feeling of like breaking through to like a higher or more subtle or deeper or more profound reality. Awakening is a really good word for that.
Okay.
TWA on Four Selves. That's one experience of it, but for my own, it was quite a simple experience of being and peace. This is talking about the level of consciousness. And yeah, it's so hard to put anything into words, and to have that experience enough to be able to communicate about it in the first place, with people coming from different, very hard to talk about. We're going to do a lot of work on that for sure. Namal says, thanks. And he gave us some money. Okay, so we got a super thanks, and we really appreciate that. Everything you give to us goes back into the show, makes it better. It gives it. One day I might actually buy a camera. There's a lot of things that we could improve. We could get a membership to our service that we're communicating over, and even just the show of support. Thank you so much, Josephaz. No, Josephaz. Thank you everyone for doing that. Weird, because at 22, I was constantly at the third tier, understanding many subtle aspects of life. My ego was relaxed and I just understood people and life, but I'm losing it. I don't know how to get back, and maybe I can't. Maybe it was just a moment, a gift. But I long for that enlightenment again. I believe I am at a green or teal with some behaviors of orange. I think we can be many colors in many aspects of our consciousness. For example, have addictions, which is what? Red, but also still be very high up with introspection. Well, who could that be? Don't know if anyone has experienced this before, and what should I expect? Maybe, what was this? A growth spurt for my consciousness that just faded away? When you know the awakening's out there and you're not in it and you yearn for it. And you know what? Maybe it wasn't exactly what you think it is now. Maybe when it was happening, you were in a different kind of place, and you have to kind of reconstruct that in the now with who you are now. And it's kind of like, a lot of people have, criticized me as well, including myself, about this. If I had some state way back when that I can't access now, I can't really talk about it much. It's hard to talk about something like that and with credibility, because I'm not in that state. And maybe I never was. How would I know? I'm not in it. This is tough. This is really tough, because of course some people do have these states and then they can't get back to them. They're a fuck up. They feel like they can't do it. Like, what happened? Am I doing something wrong? Am I bad? Am I addicted? Is that the whole problem, that I'm addicted? Of course, addiction, dependency, this means a lot of things, where you draw the line of what is an addiction and what isn't an addiction. To the core Buddhist, everything's an addiction. Attachment, it's an addiction. Everything.
There's no such thing as suffering.
For us cats, kind of late first tier, early second tier, whatever, the American global audience is, we're mostly going to see inebriants that create chemical dependency as addictions, not so much eating, gambling, the way we talk, needing to do certain things in our habits. So it's hard to draw those lines, and I think that certainly chemical inebriance is a good place to start if you're looking at attachment, and codependency in terms of relationships, a great place to start, and mortality is a great place to start. Being attached and just always worried about loss, losing things, grief, physical loss. This is a big attachment. This is the noble truths.
If anyone could tell you how to get back there, there would be one book that exists, and everyone would be there. If one person in the entire planet could tell you here's how to do it, everyone would be there.
Yeah, Joe Scafaz, we are all in the same boat. We're all in this together, and I hope that we can help to be an upward or deepward or subtleward force on one another. It's a very personal thing, and it's something you have to put a lot of work into. And we're a lot
Sometimes
of us are,
we
trying.
talked in
Yeah,
a
and
previous episode that
you
like
said how it's effortless.
sometimes it like trauma happens, sometimes it just happens, sometimes you put a lot of work into it. Like I said, if anyone could tell you how to get there, that person would be penniless and homeless because they're there, and so would everyone else because there's an easy roadmap. There's no map.
This is the whole mission, is like, how do we convey? How do we communicate? How do we know that we're even there in the first place? Yeah, great question. And we're in this together. Let's talk it out. Let's figure it out. Let's work on ourselves. Hopefully we'll be able to say more authoritative things at some point. Lion says, just watch one of your other videos. Interesting, interesting. Is this like Robert Anton Wilson's book, Prometheus Rising? Not ringing a bell, though. Maybe I should look that
What
up and
video
come
is this
back.
attached to?
Altitude stage theory, just the idea of altitudes, I suppose. There's a lot of stuff that kind of tiptoes into that. So maybe this would be a Prometheus Rising. Maybe this would be an example. People have told me many times to read Robert Anton Wilson.
Don't take my word for it. Visit your local library.
Dun, dun, dun. Antonio Cuna on Four Selves. Oh, so it is here you presented the psychological perspective. I asked you about this subject in a recent comment to a new short. Okay, I will take my notes from here to try to bring this understanding to my flimsy dialogue with my Jungian totality, so to speak. Four Selves mini model, personality, ego, psyche, consciousness. It's a way that Wilbur kind of put it early on. Other than that, it's kind of the way I put it. Who am I? Am I a personality? Am I an ego? Am I a psyche? Am I a consciousness? How does that change? What makes me think that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of how I personally, I call it a mini model, how I deal with the psychology part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it needs to be 12 stages unless you're like really honed in on a particular thing. 4 is fine. Another comment on that. A new item to help me think about things, but I have to ask about the origin of the so-called states, a concept which seems very rich, fertile. Thanks. States are one of the 5 modules of the integral theory. So it's Ken Wilber's integral theory includes states as a core concept. Generally, what he's talking about in states is spiritual teachings from a global survey of different religions and even non-religious sources. That's and then I'm just kind of replicating that with minus everything Wilber knows plus everything I know in my experience. So it comes out looking a little different, right?
Mm-hmm.
On Levels, Lines, and Ladies Shirts, Talking Integral, Morgan says,
great title.
No one is one altitude, but most
Boom.
people are.
Let's just stop right there.
Yeah.
I could make 18 episodes about this.
Yeah,
Furious.
we're gonna make 18. We're gonna.
But yeah, go on.
But most people are centered at a certain altitude. They don't flow.
Preach.
They don't flow between levels, although if they learn to flow, flowing is a useful skill to have. So saying maybe that people aren't as flexible with that waving and that it could be more useful to actually allow that more.
I don't think it's a flexibility on the person's capability. I think it's a flexibility on the person's awareness. You say that.
I bit down on the suit capsule.
Oh God.
Because the comments are done.
I need an antidote.
I'm getting real fuzzy.
Well, welcome back to the James Only Show.
I've been dead.
Oh, you got better.
I got better.
So yeah,
turn me into a newt.
Being fluid. 2 things I want to touch before we move on. Being fluid, ever so important and ever so always happening, whether you want to admit it or not. 2, to reinforce what I just said, ever so important because you don't want Orange to show up for a fist fight.
Unless it can find some tools, some technology. Rick and Morty stuff.
We'll find the technology. What an amazing cap to the comments as of right now. Though I'm sure there'll be more comments later, but we've caught up.
And for those of you who are still kind of like looking into what the different modules are, lines is a very important one. When we say that someone's at an altitude, we're kind of averaging, we're making like an index. We're like averaging out all these different lines. Mm-hmm. Like my track and field line is very, very low. I'm a bad runner. Mm-hmm. But as very little effect on the rest of me. I'm in less good physical health, so that's going to affect all my lines to a small extent. Some of them are more important than others. So if we were to say like, oh, this person is averaging out around orange most of the time, you know, you have to make all these like qualifying statements for that to even make sense. Even then, we're talking about their morals, their self-sense, their values, their kinesthetic ability, their cognitive. We're talking about all these different things, just kind of like as a general essence, the way you think, feel, and do is overall rational achiever. That's kind of the character that you do. And that's such a vague thing. It's so vague. It's not a thing where you're like, I am green. I'm Mr. Green. I always have been and I always will be. You know, this is the opposite of integral thinking. It's very flex and flow, very up and down, very pumping around, very multifaceted.
Your core is somewhere averaging out, but you're up and down.
Yes.
Yeah. Somewhere
And it's
in between.
entirely theoretical. There's no physical core. There's no exactly.
This one's a little slower, more emotional. And so we thought we'd pass around a bucket and you could cry in it, you know, and vomit.
So thanks for watching another comments entry, and we're actually caught up with our comments, and we've gotten so many great comments. We love our comments. They're so awesome.
Love
Thank you
everyone.
so much.
Positive, negative, neutral. Love the comments.
We're all in this together, and it's a beautiful thing, and we really love to be here. So, that's that one.
Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye.
Stardust in the sky, whispering the word. I'll try. The